Hello and welcome back to another sign language video. This is Unit 2, Section 5. This is the final section of new information for this unit. So this will be the last video or series of videos for this unit. The first is the ASL up close about WH words. All languages have a set of words used to ask questions. In English, those are typically called our WH questions. In ASL, we call them the WH words, even though they're not signed with the W hand shape and have nothing to do with the letter W, just because of that overlap with English. The WH words have a unique emphasis in ASL that is also not found in English. You will learn how to use your WH words in more depth in the next unit, number 3. Also remember, when we use our WH questions, the non-manual expression for that is a frown. So when you are assigning any WH questions or asking any questions that are not answered with yes or no, we have that quizzical look on our face. Next is the vocabulary for the WH words. The first one is why. It can be signed Y like this with your middle finger. Some people sign it why. Becomes a Y at the end, one way to remember it. You can also sign it down pretty low. Why? It doesn't have to be up by your temple necessarily. It's more formal to sign it up higher though. Which? Do you want this one? Do you want that one? Which? Who? The older sign or the more formal sign now? Who? Draw a circle around in front of your face. Who? The more commonly used and informal sign of it, used in daily conversation, is who or who. You can choose if you want to move your finger forward or curl it in, whichever feels more comfortable for you. Who or who. What? The old way of signing that or a more formal way of signing it. What or what. What. I would recommend you try and use this version, although if you've already learned this version and that's more comfortable to you, that's fine also. When. Make a circle around your finger and then touch the end. When. I like to think of it as the little hands of a clock moving all the way around. When. Where. Like you're pointing out many different locations. Where. How. My fingers touch, point down, and then they twist in towards me and end up upright. How. And the story behind the sign for how is many women, remember, who were seamstresses, many deaf women were seamstresses, and their bosses would come along and make this gesture to them so that they would turn that they were working on inside out so they could see their seams. How's it going? How is your work going? How. There are some other WH signs that are used like WH words but are not one of those standard ones in that list. The first one is this. The sign for 4 with our WH eyebrows signed twice. 4. It means why. Why would you do that? What would you do that for? 4. The next one is do what. Do what? What are you doing? Again, that can be with this D hand shape, or it can just be pinched together like this. Either version is fine, but what are you doing? What should we do? What's wrong? Sign the sign wrong or incorrect, wrong, and look at the person with your eyebrows. What's wrong? You can also do the, as he's showing in the picture, the what hand with the wrong. What's wrong? Wrong. What's up? With our expression like this, still used as that what word, but what's up? And 2 more. How much and how many. How many throws up in the air. I come from an S to a 5 hand shape. How many? And how much is that same movement, S to 5, but it opens down in front of you. How much? I think of much a lot of something that's heavy, as opposed to how many, lots of little things that you can throw up in the air. All right, eyes on ASL number 6. WH words typically go at the end of ASL sentences and need to have that frown. They may be signed at the beginning and also at the end because English typically has the the WH word at the beginning, so many signers are more comfortable having it at the beginning and then also putting it at the end. It's kind of a way to bridge the gap between the ASL only at the end and the English only at the beginning. So whichever version is more comfortable for you is fine. For example, what is this? It's a book. Some more sentences for this are, what do you study? Who's a student? Where do you sit? And when is the weekend? Very important question. All right, so a couple more conversational signs. To improve or to get better moves up your arm. I'm moving my arm up to show it. Normally it would just be held out to the sign, but it kind of dips off screen. So it starts at your wrist, and you can improve anywhere along your arm up to your shoulder. Usually improve, base sign, one halfway up and then another higher up. You can modulate this a lot though. Slow incremental improvements, really getting better quickly, anything along those lines. We have an opposite sign, to get worse, to decline. So you can improve up, and then backwards is the opposite of that. And again, get worse quickly, slowly getting worse, slow, even more incrementally. You can make it slow, you can make it fast. All of those movements would add in those words that we would need to add words in English, where we could just modify this one sign in ASL. Next is important. My F hand shape makes a circle, starts at the bottom, ends up on top. Important, also the sign for worth or value. Nothing, not a big deal. Don't worry about it. Worthless. That same important, pulling it up higher, shaking it back and forth down low. It's not important. It's nothing. It's not worth it. And the word drinking fountain, we know the sign for water, and then we add this at the end. Water fountain or drinking fountain, water, and then you push the button and you drink with your mouth. Some examples of that is, who's improving at sign? What does a student need to do to improve? They learn ASL when? Where? Do you want the test today or tomorrow? Which one? Often when we would say this or this in English, we would say this or that and then sign which at the end. And remember, for that, just like you can with and, I can do that same thing with or. Today, tomorrow. My body shifting into two different positions handles that concept of or. All right, a little commonly fingerspelled words that are not so commonly fingerspelled. Pizza can be spelled like this, P, two Z's to the A, or most commonly just two Z's with your fingers bent over in the shape of a Z. Another sign more used on the East Coast is like this, folding the slice of pizza in half. The word latte is spelled latte. Bus, you will see especially deaf adults will sign bus. It's a very short, easy to spell word. There is this sign though for the city bus, like pulling on the cord for a stop. Grade, showing the paper with whatever letter grade is on it, A, B, C, so also a grade. The word ha-ha, it is spelled, but it's spelled differently. So it's not H-A-H-A. It's your H hand shape upside down with your thumb out, because you're going to sign A in a minute. Ha-ha. So I have my little H upside down, goes to an A. Ha-ha-ha. This used to be very commonly used when you're laughing about something mildly amusing. Funny. Very commonly now, especially amongst younger people, is LOL. L-O-L-O-L is how they sign that. You start with your L, you tap it into this one finger version of O, and open again to the L, and you do that twice. L-O-L-O-L. So you just open, close, open, close, open. So very commonly used, especially after COVID with many people wearing masks. You can't see that smile, that facial expression, so signing LOL to people has become very common. So the sign for cost or price is your finger running along an item. The old sign used to be for the sticker gun, to stick the price sticker on it. The new explanation for the sign is using the scanner gun to scan a barcode. Either way, sign for cost or price. And that reduce. So cost reduce is another way to sign sale. It's also fine to spell sale. It's a very short word, but you can sign cost reduce. Bank is always finger spelled, B-A-N-K, but it's a lexicalized word, which means its movement has been changed. So it's B-A-N-K, bank. And eventually it just B, and then you curl your fingers in, bank, bank. Tax, commonly spelled, if it is spelled, it's spelled T-A-X to the side, tax, tax. Or, again, for some reason, cost is also used. The sign for berry, very commonly, showing the stem and whatever round kind of berry is on there. And the word mile is abbreviated M-I. You don't spell the whole word. M-I is enough. And last but not least, glossing the sign WH questions. So anytime that you have a WH and you have that frown, the way that you write that in gloss is WHQ. All non-manuals are above it, so you'll see in the example on the page. You wrote out the gloss, you drew a line above it, and then at the beginning and the end of that sentence, wherever you signed those frowning eyebrows, you write WHQ, and that's the way to indicate that you had this facial expression, whether a WH word was used or not. So if you'd like to practice those activities, they're in the lesson notes. And that's all.